Well, welcome to the AM News. Now, a policeman escorting a bullion van was shot in the head and killed Monday afternoon near the timber market here in Accra. According to eyewitnesses, the robbers bolted with their guns or a gun of the policeman and an unspecified amount of money that was on board the van. A 40-year-old woman, mother of 3, who was hiding in a shop, was also struck by a bullet, killing her instantly. This is the third such daylight attack involving guns in recent times. Maxwell Akbaba was at the crime scene and reports.
We're told that this bullion van here was actually transferring some cash to an unknown destination. Just some minutes when it got to this spot, it was crossed by a taxi driver, we're told. So that lowered the speed a bit for the bullion van. So at the time that it stopped, we were told that 6 men on different motorbikes accosted the driver of the vehicle, and we are told that that resulted in the shooting of the driver, and then an armed police officer who was escorting the bullion van was also shot in the head. If you come here, there's blood splattered on the floor right now as I'm speaking to you. The bullion van also, you can still see the bullet holes on the vehicle. We're told that the robbers fired indiscriminately in this heavily populated community. We're told the entire operation lasted for about 3 minutes, to the extent that some of the community members actually tried blocking some of the exits here, just some meters away from where I'm standing. I'm told that the robbers realized that, so they used a different exit point to get out of this community. Many of the people I've been speaking to are shocked about the brazen manner which the incident happened.
What happened is that we were sitting down there, I think we were trading there buying ice cream. So the moment we hear gunshot, then one ran away, so left with 2. So we're watching what's going to happen. So what I realized is that I think they shoot the policeman, and then they shoot the driver twice, and then we saw one woman at the back, they bring her at the front, and they start beating him. So, and then one at the back tried to open the gate at the back, and then they took the money. So they were shooting the guns around, so nobody can even get close to them. Okay. Yeah, so that is the one enter the kiosk and then kill that woman over there. Because the one shooting around, we cannot get close to them. So we try our best that maybe after finishing, they will pass through this place. So we blocked that side.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we blocked there. So they didn't pass there, they passed the other side. We took moto and followed them, but we couldn't get them.
Were they masked?
No.
They were not?
No.
But they were wearing helmets?
They didn't wear helmets. Those holding the guns, they are not wearing anything. They're just holding the guns directly. Yeah.
Did you hear the language they were speaking?
Oh, I didn't hear anything because we are almost 50 meters to them. But only we are hearing gunshot and things. And then where we are, the gun cannot even enter because we are dodging and watching them.
A woman who sells in a convenience store here was hit by the bullets that was fired by the robbers. We are told that she operates the convenience store that is here. One of the bullets that was fired actually penetrated this barrel that is here. So you can see the bullet hole on this barrel, very visible. The first one here penetrated the top, and then the second one penetrated the down. And after penetrating, while she was hiding in this room, we were told that the bullet penetrated this point. She was standing, and then they hit her in the neck, and that was what killed her, according to eyewitnesses. Quite a number of people are gathered in a home commiserating with the family. It's all tears for them. I have a woman here who is quite concerned about the issue.
The lady who is gone now is my sister-in-law, and it's very sad because he left with 3 children. And our president and the ministries of defense should take it serious, that it shouldn't happen again. That the mother should leave their children around over this time. It's very painful. That is all what I can say. Now look at my brother. See how he's suffering. Not talking of me going to take care of the children. It's very bad and very painful. I'm sad and disappointed. Yes, that was last, before 3 months. We heard that they broke some jail, and I'm sure some of them have run into this place, and they are including of what happened. So the government should work hard and look for them and deal with them.
Just some minutes ago also, we had the mayor of Accra coming here to commiserate with the family.
But I think that as a nation, we should be mindful and probably step up the retrieval of people, retrieval of a lot of ammunitions. So I think that it's important we take note of that. That there are too many, maybe, unlicensed ammunitions probably in the hands of people. And as a nation, we should step up the retrieval of such ammunitions. I mean, just look at the community. It's a lot of people are here. A lot of people are here. So just take note of that.
Let's speak to the husband of the deceased.
I was called on a phone by a young lady to be told that my wife is lying in a pool of blood. But then I was far from home, so I have to rush over here. And I came to, it's true, when I came it was true that the body has been taken to the police morgue.
So it's not even seen the body. When was the last time you spoke to her?
We spoke yesterday several times. We spoke in the night, discussing about the children. And the time for me to call is around 12 o'clock, only to be informed that.
A very shocking crime indeed. Now, the Accra Region Police Command is urging the public to volunteer information that would lead to the arrests of the perpetrators. Spokesperson for the command, DSP Efiatinge, has been given the police's account of the attack.
Today, Monday, 14 June 2021, at about 11:30 a.m., information received by the police indicated that a bullion van had been attacked. Police swiftly responded, and on-the-spot investigation indicates that the bullion van was on a daily sales collection errand, and on reaching an area called Adedempo, that is a suburb of Jamestown, some unidentified armed men on not less than 3 motorbikes crossed the bullion van and started shooting sporadically. In the process, 2 persons were shot and killed instantly. The policeman on escort duty, and also a lady whose identity the police is yet to verify. The bullion driver sustained gunshot wounds and has been sent to the Kolebu Teaching Hospital for treatment. 2 tellers who were on the bullion van escaped unhurt. The weapon of the policeman was also taken away together with an unspecified amount of money. The crime scene experts have been invited to process the crime scene as part of police investigations to get the perpetrators arrested. Meanwhile, anyone with information on this incident should kindly contact the Accra Regional Police Command, the nearest police station, or call police emergency numbers 191 or 18555. Further updates on this incident shall be communicated.
Well, away from that and to Parliament, where Chairman of Parliament's Appointment Committee, Joe Osei-Owusu, has rejected claims by the minority that last Friday's vetting of deputy ministerial nominees by the committee amounted to disrespect of the Speaker's directive. Minority MPs were absent from the committee sitting, which vetted Martin Ejay-Mensah-Korsah and 3 of his colleagues. Though the minority MPs had indicated they were boycotting Mr. Korsah's vetting due to the violence that characterized his victory in the Techiman South parliamentary election, they ended up not participating in the vetting of the other deputy ministerial nominees. Minority Chief Whip in Parliament Muntaka Mubarak told the sitting of the committee Monday the decision by the chairman to go ahead with Friday's vetting was unfortunate.
If you look at the program for the vetting of the deputy ministers, we identified each day what we will do. It is true that on Friday, the ranking member told me that the Speaker has said we should go out and do tree planting, so Parliament will not sit on Friday. But soon after that, the majority leader came in, and I asked him of that because Parliament had then not convened. So it appears it is a pre-sitting meeting. And the majority leader said, no, the appointments committee is not part. We should continue with our work. That was in the presence of the ranking member, who is the minority leader. At the close of work on the Friday, members of this committee actually met and discussed whether we would continue with our program or whether we will reschedule the meeting on Friday. And we're unanimous that we will continue with our meeting. I'm hearing today that after we had concluded and left, members of the minority went out to another meeting of theirs, and they sent somebody to communicate to me that we should postpone the meeting. That was not a meeting of the committee. At best, it's a suggestion which the committee, if we met again, could have considered. But it was Honorable Muntaka who called me around 7 p.m. that they had decided that we should suspend the meeting. I said, no. We all met and took this decision. After that, it was not open to me to reschedule the meeting. So what they decided was after the fact. After the committee had met and agreed that we would continue. For whatever reason, they chose that on the Friday they would not continue. But they did not bring it to the meeting for the meeting to take a decision. And it was not open to me to change the decision of the committee.
Now to Cape Coast, where the Cape Coast Teaching Hospital has intensified the training of staff on the management of complications on hypertensive disorders and postpartum hemorrhage among pregnant women. The hospital says it would also continue to work with the Ghana Health Service and facilities that refer cases to the hospital to improve maternal health service delivery as it battles to reduce maternal deaths. Chief Executive Officer of the hospital, Dr. Eric Kofi-Jedu, intimated data available to the hospital on maternal death in 2020 was worrying, even though it was a marginal improvement recorded over the past year. He was speaking at a ceremony where the MTN Ghana Foundation handed over a fully furnished blood bank facility to the hospital. Richard Kojonyako has more.
The corporate social investment worth $300,000 was initiated in 2020 as part of a strategic intervention to support health delivery in Ghana. Chief Executive Officer of the Cape Coast Teaching Hospital, Dr. Eric Kofi-Jedu, indicated the hospital recorded 26 maternal deaths in 2020 at a ratio of 903 to 100,000 live births, compared to 28 reported in the previous year, with a corresponding ratio of 925 to 100,000 live births. Even though there was an improvement, he indicated the hospital was worried about the numbers and would work to reduce the numbers.
Postpartum hemorrhage accounted for the highest number of these deaths, which is not different from the previous years. It was in this light that the hospital board in 2019 tasked management to implement recommendations made by the Technical and Planning Committee of the board to renovate and revamp the hospital blood bank to improve the availability of blood and blood-related products. Management sought for support from MTN Foundation, and that request gave birth to this beautiful edifice we are commissioning today. Management has also intensified training of staff on the management of complications such as hypertensive disorders in pregnancy and postpartum hemorrhage. For improved quality maternal health outcomes. In addition, the hospital will continue to work with the Ghana Health Service and heads of other referring hospitals to improve maternal health services delivery and improve outcomes.
The Cape Coast Teaching Hospital CEO says it used its collaborative partnership as a vehicle to secure expansion of the pharmacy storage facility from benevolent organizations, and the construction of the facility has been completed and handed over to the hospital. Chief Corporate Services Executive of MTN Ghana, Samuel Crunchy, noted at the commissioning of the blood bank that the investment symbolizes the company's unwavered commitment towards improving the lives of Ghanaians.
The MTN Ghana Foundation has over the years been very instrumental in blood donation campaigns in the country. The construction of this facility, therefore, serves as a good monument of our contribution to the collection and storage of blood in Ghana. We are even more excited because we are making a significant contribution to the health needs of the people of this region and Ghana at large.
Data on blood donation from 2016 to 2019 reveals the percentage of voluntary donations in Ghana is around 35%. The current situation, the Ghana Health Service says, is woefully inadequate to respond to emergencies. Reporting for Joy News, Richard Kwejo-Nyakon, Cape Coast.
And from Cape Coast, we end the news in Kumasi in the Ashanti region. After a highly charged debating contest, Opokowari School and Adventist girls are the first to qualify to the semi-finals of the Lavefem High School debates. They beat Efwa Kobisewa and Pemenia Santua girls, respectively. Owa's triumph for the motion. The national security outfit in Ghana has lost its relevance in our country's security architecture. Lavefem's Erastus Asari Danko captured all in this report.
The quarterfinals of the high school flagship contest started with an all-girls contest between Adventist girls and Yasantua Girls Senior High School. The motion was reckless driving causes more accidents than bad roads. It ended 231-216 in favor of Adventist girls.
The United States of America is a country with better roads, yet accidents still do occur. So would my opposers blame these accidents on bad roads? According to a report titled Car Accident Statistics in US by Driver Knowledge, reckless driving causes 33% of all deaths involving major car accidents. 30% of auto accidents are credited to speed of reckless drivers. 40% are attributed to driving under the influence of drugs and alcohol, and distracted driving causing 20% of car accident injuries. Panel of judges upon all the good roads in US, Road Safety Facts reported that US suffers the most road crash death rate than any high-income country.
Ghanaian roads are unfortunately famous for their potholes, varying in size and length, which not all drivers are privy to them. The chair, motorists who are aware of these potholes and try to avoid them end up risking their lives. The fate of drivers who are oblivious of these potholes is sad and terrible, as these potholes displace them, causing road accidents.
The second contest started with a charged atmosphere by OWAS against a more reserved Efiakobi Girls Senior High School. The national security's relevance in Ghana's security architecture was up for debate. It ended 219-216 in favor of OWAS.
The National Security Unit is an unfortunate legacy inherited with a problematic modus operandi. Looking back at how Ghana established its security services after independence proves how this demon was formed. After independence in 1957, Ghana sought support from Indian Prime Minister Japal Jarawatu. The idea was to benefit from India's experience in our security architecture. The chair, the House. However, it soon became clear to Ghana that they had imported lots of problems, which included oppressive tactics and a recruitment system based on partisan loyalties instead of professionalism.
According to GhanaBusiness.com, on 4th May 2021, the National Security again apprehended a 13-member gang involved in the printing and contribution of counterfeit to unsuspected victims. There are a lot of instances whereby the National Security have apprehended culprits involved in such illegal acts, and so you cannot consider such institution that does that as irrelevant.
The next quarterfinal contest will be staged on Wednesday. Reporting for Joy News, Erastus Asaredonko, Kumasi.
And that's how we end the news. Stay with us on the AM show. Ben and myself will be back in a short while. We'll review the day's newspapers and also touch base with myjoyonline.com. Do stay with us. Yeah. He said we should give a shout.
A thunderous shout.
Unto Jesus.
Oh, yeah.
Hallelujah, somebody.
Amen,
Good morning, Ben.
somebody. It's another beautiful morning. Tuesday is here. And, as the days pass, you just get even more grateful for every day that you wake up in one piece.
Absolutely.
Maybe without a bullet through your body.
Yeah.
It's becoming so stark. It's becoming so real. I was just sharing with our back crew, Patrick, Quaver, and the others that, like the Pig Farm roundabout incident, it's a stretch I have used for, let's say, over a decade. You know, if not decades. Like, I have circulated in different parts of Accra, and it's familiar with me. You know, interestingly, the CID headquarters area, the Pig Farm roundabout area, very familiar to me. So when you hear of these things that you've not heard of in donkey years, it hits you like, hey, that could have been me around that stretch. That could have been, and Mama V is just getting very, very scary.
It is
very
scary. It is scary. You know, the last thing you say to your loved one is, shall it be, try and keep safe. Like, you never know where anything could happen to you, and that's not what we need, really. Like, you can't be safe. I mean, look at the neighborhood where this incident happened yesterday. This is not, I mean, this is not like a highway. This is not, you know, these are people who woke up yesterday trying to do their petty jobs so that they can feed the family.
Yeah.
I mean, and this just happened. So unexpected.
But you know, you just use that word and it leaps out to me. You know why? Look at that stretch. And I'm not going to play the blame game here. I mean, it never resolves any problems. But the stretch on which this thing happened, why should a bullion van be passing there anyway? I mean, look critically at the stretch. It is packed. The road itself is not good. I mean, you would want expressways. I understand that our roads are not the best, in the best of shape, but this is a crammed spot. And for a van going through that route, you should expect that such crowding would slow you down. And it's unfortunate what happened. But I'll also quickly highlight, you know, something I was just bringing up right before we get into the papers, because we're going to be highlighting this situation in the first place. These vans that we use and call them bullion, what's so bullion about them? What's so... Elsewhere, they are called ACTCs for a reason. Armored Cash Transit Cars. Our vehicles are not armored in any way. And so, not by a long stretch of imagination, I can understand why the Ghana Police Service in that release is a bit upset, and it's saying, it's giving the ultimatum to these banks and financial institutions. You either get armored vehicles or we withdraw within a space of weeks. We withdraw our personnel because the police officers are dying. Mind you, according to the UN standard, it should be 1 policeman to 500 citizens. We have 1 to 1,200, and that's even for a population of 30 million, not the 31 plus that we are around. And the census isn't even done to tell us what the extant figures are. So when you put everything together, you see that there is sloppiness somewhere. And if we don't address them, these robbers didn't just wake up overnight and do this. This looks very planned, very orchestrated, which also tells me it could be, I'm only surmising here, that this van or some vans have been using that route, and that's why they were targeted.
Yeah, this very unfortunate incident is bringing very important angles to a conversation that perhaps should have been had a very long time ago. But let's look at what's in the papers. We'll come back to this very subject and tell you the very latest in the course of our programming. Today, I've got the Daily Graphic newspaper, the Daily Guide, I'll do the Daily Statesman, and the Finder newspaper. Ben, what have you got?
I've got the Ghanaian Times, the Daily Dispatch, and I'll do the 2 financial papers, BNFT and Economy Times.
It's a very rare picture on the front page of the Daily Graphic newspaper. I have to keep reading to be sure if this is really from the odor. It's a clear portion of the odor that I have never seen in my long life in Ghana. But it says that this is actually from a visit from the Daily Graphic newspaper on Sunday, where they realized that there's a wall being erected exactly to ward off encroachers and scrap dealers, because for a very long time, and you'd see it when we put the front page of the Daily Graphic newspaper on the screen for you to appreciate, is a place that is known. We're used to seeing scrap dealers do their thing there. So now that I see a cleared portion of this space, I can't even see it. And I'm sure you'll be wondering, are they really sure? Maybe when you're passing by, open your eyes and also check if this is true. So they are raising the wall so that those scrap dealers cannot go to the place. I hope that we'll put a gate actually there and the wall will be tall enough and we'll put a padlock on it. I was just going to suggest, so why can't we just plant trees? But then again,
That's actually a beautiful idea on the back of, you know, greening Ghana.
Yeah, we could plant a lot of
and it would prevent people from going here.
Beautiful
or you could transform
there.
them into something beneficial. But I'll just sneak in this bit. JoyNews gets results. You know, in recent times, I've been going around some of these areas and all. I nearly asked you how long ago, because this looks pretty fresh.
Oh yeah, this is fresh. I mean,
looks pretty fresh.
But this portion is close to the Daily Graphic, so they only noticed it on Sunday, so it's fresh. Yeah,
it is very fresh, and I've been in that area and highlighted some of these. So it is good to know that this platform can achieve, you know, such results, and that together, you see, sometimes it points to the power of the media. When we start doing this, I've seen other you know, media entities also taking up the challenge and doing some of these sanitation-related things. When we do that collectively, this is the result right there. Leaders are forced to act.
Absolutely. So we hope that this will be extended to the entire stretch. That's what we want to see. But we don't just want to see walls. We want to see some greens as well. It looks like it's like a serialized conversation, really, because yesterday I think I saw the Minister of Education talking about local printers going to be given the job, even though we made a decision, I think, back in 2016 to get them to print. Today, there's another version which says we are ready to print. Local printers assure government, publishers welcome decision. And I say, the school kids still don't have their textbooks. We need to talk about that conversation. Or we need to have that conversation. Now, police on manhunt for bike riding robbers. So this is the picture, unfortunately, of the policeman who was escorting the van who was shot and killed yesterday, the late Lance Corporal Emmanuel Osei. A very young man, really.
So young, it's heartbreaking.
Yeah. It's, oh, gosh. And he didn't go to war, though. He didn't go to war. I'm not sure he even thought that he would activate his gun yesterday when he stepped out to do that escort service. And I'm sure this was something that he had probably done before. It was a routine something, only to be caught in this incident. Our prayers really and our condolences to the family and the Ghana Police Service as well. They're asking if you saw something yesterday, maybe not in that vicinity, but in whichever area you saw some people, and it you know, sometimes it's not even because they were on motorbikes or anything, but just your spirit. Something is telling you something. Just alert the police, whatever it is, whatever. Just alert the police so that they can pick up from whatever it is that you saw. Let's help the police to get these bad guys. And then the Graphic Business Time Bank breakfast meeting.
If I may. So right there, something else I've seen, the level of impunity. You know, some of them were not masked. They didn't have any hoods or anything on. And they were just indiscriminately, so brazenly doing what they were doing.
They knew they could get away with it.
You see, that's the problem. Because if you go back to the CID headquarters one, the one that happened around the CID headquarters, apparently in fleeing or leaving the scene, they came and passed in front of, from the footage, in front of the CID headquarters. So I'm asking myself, like, what impunity?
So do we still have cameras that are not functioning? Because you remember when Latif's incident happened, which was right there in the compound of the police headquarters. The cameras apparently either wasn't working, or either that day, or maybe it's never been working. So I'm wondering if they've got cameras in front of that stretch, at least that captured something. But now I have my doubts. Yeah. And they did this in broad daylight. Like, you know, when you hear that thing, yesterday when the news first came, I said, no. I mean, this can't be true. It's not true. Maybe somebody is doing something. And I know that, like, a lot of us were trying to run around to verify if this was really true. It sounded like something that would not happen. Not at that time. Yeah. This is how far we have come now. This is what we're dealing with. We need to really begin to resolve some of these issues. We can't be talking about street lights. We can't be talking about cameras. You know, sometimes, especially when we're in the digitalization world, we need to let those technical equipment also do some of the work for us. So we would probably be talking, the camera, so you kind of appreciate the environment, okay? And then you say, let's try the camera that captures from this place to this place, like we see in the series that we watch.
Forget those series. When you go to other parts of the world, sometimes even not so sophisticated, they are able to track criminals because, look at the ones around the pig farm roundabout. They didn't just arrive at the pig farm roundabout. They went through different stretches, they went through different intersections, and they got there. Are we saying no camera was able to pick them up? At least I know heading from the main 37 roundabout, where you have the Trotro station behind you, leading to the Kawokudi area. I think that area has some of these CCTV cameras, regardless of where they were coming from, whether from the Kawokudi end and then turning left towards Accra Girls or whatever, or whether it was the other end. I mean, what exactly is going on? It's just sometimes you just can't. Let me use low winds. You can't think far.
You know, one of my favorite series all time. It really doesn't matter the time I will watch is FBI, and I think they have FBI Most Wanted and FBI. And the techniques that they use, because these series are from what they see in real life. Okay, I'm not talking FBI here. Also want a conversation with Ghana police. You know, they've been picking a lot of, when things happen, the forensic team goes there and they pick a lot of samples. It would be good to have a conversation with them so that citizens can learn what it is that they collect, so that when things happen, we don't go there and mess things up for them. You get what I mean?
You know something?
But what kind of, do we have a like up-to-date database of fingerprints and things like that? What do we match what we collect? I'm just wondering what we match what we collect on the field with. You get what I mean? Again, maybe I've been watching a lot of FBI.
And apart from fingerprints, in other jurisdictions, again, you have, you know, your dental structure. It's unique. And they use that as well. They use so many things, so that even for someone who may have got burnt, charred, and you can't find prints and all of that, they can use your dental structure, they can use so many things. And these are systems that we can start with children, or at least with those who are now coming, if we aren't a part of that database. As you're registering people right from birth and all of that, and as they grow, I think these are some of the bits and pieces we can take so that we can identify people. Like
maybe they have all of the things that you're talking about. So yeah, we should talk to them so that citizens, can be also very confident that they have some of these modern techniques that we only think we see on television or what happens elsewhere.
But I can guarantee there's a lot of sloppiness. A few days ago I was engaging the family of the Chega family, the one where Priscilla, the 22-year-old, passed. And I'm just going to say this, the body, there was foam at the mouth, which might, reveal that there was some foul play even before she was stabbed. But my focus is the point that the knife was in her body. This person, the body was taken to the morgue. And it was only then that the father saw that the knife was out on the floor. people had already touched this knife, whatever, and...
so what, the body was not inspected. Is it that the body wasn't inspected, so they didn't discover there was a knife?
So the police came, but somehow the body ended, and some of the pathologists and others said it was good that the knife was still in there. But whatever the case may be, if the knife was going to be taken, I feel it should have been taken by the Ghana police or the whoever was investigating, so that it would be preserved properly, handled properly and preserved as evidence.
Wait, so
it was the
body was picked and knife left. Oh, the mortuary man discovered that there was a knife.
Yes, so
when the
by
body
the time
got to
the father got there, it was at the mortuary that this knife was, and it was on the floor.
Oh.
And it appeared a number of people had, yes.
Oh, okay. Okay. Well, it comes back to what I was
evidence.
Expected.
That's exactly what I'm saying. Evidence gathering. So this one, even if that were, you know, in criminal cases, you must prove beyond reasonable doubt, because when you're convicted of murder, I mean, in murder cases, when you're convicted of murder, it's a serious offense and it comes with a hefty, you know, sentence and all of that. What if that would have been the key evidence to nail whoever did this? That evidence has been compromised. So the methods they use...
Well, maybe there will be a lot to learn from today's graphic business Stanbic Bank breakfast meeting, because it is on digitalization. And the minister, Esla Owusu-Ekofo, is expected to be there. Also, Professor Godfred Bokping, economist and professor of finance, University of Ghana. There's Mr. Alex Bram, CEO of HAPTEL. Mr. Richard Otri Fosu, Director General, NITA. They'll be at this breakfast meeting, which will be live here on JoyNews. Part of the AM show, really, is the breakfast meeting. So let's check out what's in the center spread. Touch not media freedom, please. This is a feature that you can read about. It's by Nana Kweku Kumi. It covers the entire center spread. No, not the entire, a portion of it. The other half is accommodating is watchword for monetary policy in 2021 by Grace Isaac. On the back page of the graphic, this is actually a senior specialist at the Komfanoche Teaching Hospital who's described the death of a 14-year-old final year student of Miracle Educational Academy Junior High School in Sunyai as unnatural. Again, this is one of those incidents with a lot of stories around it, but the death of a 14-year-old. What we were told was that she had allegedly killed herself by hanging, but there is a pathologist at the Komfanoche Teaching Hospital who's making some revelations saying that her death was unnatural. Letitia Pinaman is her name. The pathologist, Dr. Ernest Jay, said Letitia died as a result of suffocation through hanging and therefore unnaturally. She was found hanging on a rope tied to a crossbar holding the ceiling joint at the school's dining hall at about 6:30 p.m. on Monday, May 17, while the student had converged on the school's church auditorium for Bible studies. And according to school authorities, she left the Bible studies session the last time she was seen before her body was found hanging. Her family had, however, suspected foul play as they disputed a suicide theory and invited the police to investigate the matter thoroughly. So that's the very latest with the angle of the pathologists captured here on the back page of the paper. And then academic work at the technical universities were disrupted yesterday when members of the Technical University Teachers Association of Ghana embarked on a sit-down strike to press home their demand for improved conditions of service. The fate of academic work now hinges on a meeting in Accra today between TUTAG and the Fair Wages and Salaries Commission to discuss the conditions of service of TUTAG members. Yesterday, PM Express was discussing the fact that we've seen so many of these labor unrest, like in a very short space of time.
Who was it that was saying recently that it's normal? It's normal to eat.
That's what they say, isn't it?
It's normal. I mean, they will happen anyway, so it's nothing out of the ordinary.
But that's a problem, you see. So when we see that this is a problem, like it would happen, Why can't we prevent it from happening? Why do we say, oh, it's labor unrest that will happen once we have laborers, or once we have a workforce, we will have labor unrest? But why can't we be proactive?
You know something we don't realize? There are countries where labor unrest has destabilized governance and governments.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah.
I think we're taking it for granted. When I heard that thought, I just said to myself,
it's usually the experts, and then they try to dump, oh, this one is normal, it happens. And then also very interested stakeholders who want to downplay, but it's a serious matter. If we know it is going to come, why do we wait for it to come? Now students are going to school and they don't know what's up. You know, but again, the sit downs, why do they bother to go to work and say, I won't work? I mean, you picked the car, you went to work, you paid the fare.
Should I tell you? For she gave
I mean, if National Labour Commission says that because you didn't work, you should not be paid, it will not matter that you actually took money to pay for it, or you bought fuel in your vehicle and drove to work. The point is you decided not to work. It really doesn't matter if you're physically there or not. Asemo.
You're man a day.
Yo.
But, you know, the young girls issue still, it sticks in the craw, right?
Letitia's issue, right?
Yeah. It's you know, as you were reading it, it actually reminded me of that song. I don't know whether it's Adwa Pinaman or Abena Pinamani. You remember that song? It's a bit, and that's her name, actually. It's sad. But you see, the family suspected that there was some foul play. So from what we are seeing today on the back page of the Daily Graphic, there might be more to this. But quickly with the Ghanaian Times newspaper, there's a picture there of the late Emmanuel Osei and the bullion van in which the policeman was murdered. It was gory, and I'm happy to say this. I watched, I don't do much of TV, but I watched somewhere on a media platform where the images were, you know, they were not that gory. They had censored them a bit and all of that. I feel that is in good taste. It is a good way to go, because the raw images that some of us saw, they are just stomach churning and so bloody, so gory. Yeah, it's just sad. But
you know, the perpetrators, the robbers, are they on something else?
Oh, they
like
must be
the
on
manner in which they're doing this right now. Like, they simply just don't care. They're not even hiding their faces. They're not doing it at night.
Look, the other day I was speaking to Adam Bona on the same issue, and yesterday I heard him, I think, on Newsnight, you know, speaking to Evans Mensah, and they are reiterating some of the flaws in our system and why we're ending up here. And you know what's scary? It's exactly what you're pointing to. The brazenness of these people now. They're doing it without fear. You know, in a system where there are real mechanisms, you do it, but you notice that, at least, Professor Odinu who see it, these are people that now, from yesterday's event, they're not even covering their faces. What are they on? What are they doing? What is giving them such confidence? How can they do this? Look, you must stretch your imagination, because if they can do this where they did, that brazenly, shooting indiscriminately, if they can do it at Pig Farm, where there were people around, but you dare not because of... have you taken a look at some of the footage? Like, the ammunition they are using, it's not child's play. It's passing through, I mean, stuff hitting people, destroying lives, leaving gaping holes. This is sophistication right there. They even took the policeman's, you know, rifle. They took it away.
They're doing it where we even have security installations, you know, so they really, really don't care. But we also need, as a society, I mean, as a society, do we pick up on tips? When I watched the one that happened around the ringway, where the fire service and the police headquarters, it just occurred to me, because people were filming, okay, they couldn't capture exactly what had happened, but the chaos, you know, and they were just talking and discussing it. I was asking myself, did anybody try to call the police?
Yeah, that's a good...
Did anybody try to alert the police? So when it happens, we just discuss it. The last group of people on our minds really is get a security person. So what is happening? Why aren't they our first point of call?
That's a brilliant question you're asking, because on the other end, even as we can look at the other end of why, you would also be contemplating, is it because people have lost faith in, I mean, these are ideas. Is it because people have lost faith so that they won't even bother? Look, the one that happened around that area, the fire service, what is the distance from that, you know, eatery? It's just across the street. You have the fire service. Then you cross the next traffic light, and you have the CID headquarters.
Well, listen, fire service is also a security.
No, I'm saying.
So
just
you
between them, two of them,
exactly.
right there.
But nobody ran to any of these offices to tell them that something is happening. They couldn't pick up anything but us. Those who are selling in the street, yeah, Semo. But listen, guys, we have to change. We have to begin to change our mindset and work on ourselves. Otherwise, we'll be recording a lot of these incidents. And these people, they live in our communities. They may not. This thing happened in Jamestown. For all you know, they live in some far away, still in Accra, but way out of Jamestown. So they would return to the communities. We will see them this morning. So that's why we need to share the information. When you see something unusual, somebody looks suspicious. I mean, the guy doesn't go to work. The lady doesn't go to work. But they're showing off so much.
How are they able to live the way they do?
And they're always going out at, you know, certain odd times and returning with goodies. Please alert the police. We need to help resolve this issue from all angles, really.
One thing we're terrible at as a people, and that is why a lot of people are in Ghana with unexplained wealth. The system from the top, from the taxation system, right down to the ordinary citizen who sees anything in his community, and
not saying anything.
And you know part of why that is also so rife? Because even, look at how many times have we not heard people give tip-offs to our security agencies. I don't want to single out one. Tip-offs to them. Next thing you know, your name, your details have been given, and these people have been bailed or something, and they are looking for you. Yeah. They are out for your blood. So you see, there are so many dynamics to this discussion we are having, and it is terrible. But I am also saying one thing that goes back to the point you're making. We don't look enough. Some of these people, especially the robbers, sometimes in some neighborhoods, Plush or whatever, they come and do recce's. They come and sometimes you see someone you've never seen in the neighborhood, all of a sudden, you know, going around asking questions. Sometimes even you may see someone who pretends to be a mad person, a lunatic. The person is not. Watch, be on the lookout. Yeah. There are a lot of these people going around, and in the end, they come and rob you.
So I have to say, just what you said just reminded me of an incident that happened in my own community, very close to me. And I have to say big ups to the Amasaman police commander, who is my neighbor, Mr. Frederick Mensah, because somebody had reported. And this is a very quiet neighborhood. So the group of guys were keeping somebody else without his will.
So false imprisonment.
Exactly. And he had been there, I think, for a day or something. But somebody was just walking around and heard something. The guy was trying to resist and alerted the police commander, because the police commander is a neighbor, just one house, two houses away from me. And there's also a military officer behind me. So they all suddenly just came together, just ordinary, you know. And then he called his men to come and see what is happening. So they grabbed all the people in the house. They were foreigners, actually. And so it became an immigration issue. I mean, there were all sort of stories told. This guy said he came from some other...
the person being held with foreigners.
came from a different country. His passport had been seized and stuff like that. He came because they had promised him a job. I mean, it's a whole story. But this is something that is real, that happens if we only look around and listen a little more, you know. Don't just say, something that's happening opposite you or behind you, you will be shocked and surprised. Once it's happening in the neighborhood, it affects you as well, because you have your entire family there. All we are saying is, when you see something, you suspect something, please alert the police. I think we will come back after sport and deal with this issue.
Ears on the ground and your eyes peeled. But let me just quickly go through the Ghanaian Times newspaper. So that story there of the armed robbery attempt. TUTAC down tools, public urge to donate blood to bridge demand-supply gap, and police hospital cries for help. I'll just quickly take a look at some of those stories. But before I get to those, Ghanaian ones, the other ones. High Court adjourns hashtag Fix the Country protest case to June the 21st. I think it was the 14th we were looking at initially. And now the Accra High Court yesterday adjourned to June the 21st, the case in which the Ghana Police Service is seeking to stop the planned Fix the Country protest in Accra. So this was yesterday, which was actually the day when this should have happened. The Supreme Court earlier last week quashed an order of the High Court barring the protest, and now lawyers for conveners of the Fix the Country campaign were expected to file their affidavit in opposition, but failed to do so on time. When the case was called, one of the lawyers, Tata Koshi, apologized for their inability to file the affidavit on time, explaining that they could not have, quote, consensus with all the respondents. So the new date to take stock of, June the 21st. Remember Kenneth Kaunda? Okay, so Zambia's founding father and former president has been admitted to hospital, his office said Monday. In a terse statement, it said Kaunda, 97, had been unwell and was admitted to Mainasoko Medical Center, a military hospital in the capital, Lusaka. It gave no further details. He ruled Zambia for 27.
Yeah, 97. He's lived very long and well.
Yeah. He was nicknamed Africa's Gandhi. Anyway, and then
we wish him well.
We wish him well. This is a story, and this is a picture, Mama, that we've seen before. Remember this man? Head of world's largest family dies in India. I don't know whether it was last year or early this year. This very picture was used, and I think it was the Ghanaian Times newspaper.
Is it the man who was marrying so many and giving birth to plenty?
Yes. I'm glad you remember. 76-year-old, believed to be head of the world's largest family. He has died in India's Mizoram state. He had, dying on Sunday, he had left behind 38 wives, 89 children, and 36 grandchildren.
This is India, eh?
Yes.
Okay, there's this.
I know that.
I remember sharing this African story of somebody in either Southern Africa.
I think South Africa, wasn't it?
Yeah,
South Africa, I think.
Who is determined to do a number, like 100 women, like he set himself a certain record of 100 women.
That was this year. I think it was months
Yeah,
back.
this was
I recall that one.
Hey!
It's, you know, but you see, we all have our goals. Some Obi percent on Jessica, Obi percent.
But you
someone else wants to have. He wants to be head of the world's largest family, and he is. He achieved that.
Yeah, but if you have so many and you can't take care of them, then we will have a problem with you as a society. Because you can't achieve your goals and leave the people, the innocent people. They didn't tell you they wanted to come and suffer. If you can't take care of them, then we'll have big issues with you. Yeah.
We have such.
Who is watching that?
What are we doing?
It's not like
in our society, those ended up on the streets and the rest. What are we doing about that?
I was just going to say, is that a police responsibility?
Never solve a problem, no. Yeah, we do the to but I mean, it's happening.
Sure.
It's happening. We're not doing
anything. It is your record to have 10 children. And then who takes care of the 10 children? Like, you want me to come and suffer?
But you know what happens when parents fail or parents don't even exist? It reverts to the state. The state must take care of it.
Yeah, how well does the state do that kind of job?
Page 16 of the paper, I'll just wrap up with those middle pages and maybe look at some sports on the back page. Public urged to donate blood to bridge demand-supply gap. And Mama, I'll keep going back to this story because it's becoming a serious problem. Ghana yesterday joined the rest of the world to mark World Blood Donor Day with a call on eligible blood donors to donate blood to bridge the country's present demand-supply gap. Marked on June 14 every year, the day is to raise awareness globally. And Chief Executive Officer of the National Blood Service, Dr. Justina Ansah, in a remark at a brief event to celebrate the day, noted how young people had been at the forefront of voluntary blood donation over the years globally. But this is her call, and I'm going to reiterate. I therefore wish to call on all persons who are eligible to donate blood, that is 17 to 60 years, to heed the humanitarian call to donate blood regularly to save lives and encourage friends and relatives to do same. And recently, we've heard that they have just about 20 to 25% of what they need in terms of blood in the blood banks. So I keep saying, that means if you were to go to hospital, depending on which public hospital, and needed blood, that would be 2 to 2.5 or 20 to 25% of a chance of getting blood. And if not getting the blood, likely dying, because unfortunately, there is no replacement for blood. We've not got to that point, and I doubt humanity will get to that point. I mean, God is omnipotent, where we'd you know, be able to manufacture blood or something of the sort. It is what it is. If you don't donate,
we'll come back and talk a lot more blood, and then also the security issue with what happened yesterday. You're done with the paper?
I think that will be it.
Okay, so last paper for me, the Daily Guide, and then we will do myjoyonline.com. We promise you we'll return after sports and then, you know, take you through what we couldn't at this time. So the Daily Guide newspaper, there's a story different from what we have read in the other papers. Human parts dealers arrested. So a group of people, they were selling human parts or skeletons to police officers, policemen, because you know, they had heard, they were trying to investigate. So they went in as buyers of body parts.
Okay, so now it's making sense. I was wondering why
they went in as buyers of body parts.
They didn't know these were police officers.
No, they didn't know they were police officers. But the King Kong himself sent 2 other guys to go and transact the business in the hotel. And that was how they were arrested. So it happened in Ebuakwa, in the Ashanti region. 3 of them have been arrested. And this is just June this year. They are suspected, you know, the story says they either may be grave looters or they're just people who deal in body parts. So when people go and bury, they now have to, like, they go and take the body from the cemetery and then they sell those parts. And they were selling like each skeleton for 30,000 Ghana cedis. Yeah.
And who knows whether they aren't ritualists. And that could be.
How many of them have they sold so far? That's what I'm asking. There's also 2 kidnapped victims rescued. So this is some good news in the midst of all the unfortunate stories. The Savannah Regional Police Command has rescued 2 Fulanis who were allegedly kidnapped by some unknown persons at Daboya in the North Gonja district of the Savannah region. The rest of the story is on page 3 in the Daily Guide newspaper. Okay, shall we do myjoyonline.com?
I'll just give this headline. We'll do My Joy Online, and when we return, maybe we can look at some of them. I just wanted to highlight this from the Daily Dispatch. Purchase of COVID-19 vaccines. Contract shows Ministry of Health lied. And it's something that I want to get into, should we, you know, be able to take a second bite at it. And this last one, let's make Accra work. Illegal structures pulled down at Spintex. I'm loving the Greater Accra Regional Minister. I saw a picture of his recently with Sheikh Isikwe of blessed memory, former Greater Accra Regional Minister. It warmed my heart, and I'm just excited by some of the things he is doing. But very quickly, before we do My Joy Online, Eliz Couture, Elizabeth, yesterday was your birthday, belated happy birthday. She sews a lot of the clothes we wear here at Multimedia. So Elizabeth, belated happy birthday. We. It's not my personal. We.
You.
From our wardrobe. From our wardrobe.
From some of those your wardrobe and others.
I know. So Elizabeth, belated happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to Rebecca Domi. She's a Poga past Ola girl. Rebecca Domi, happy birthday to you, and wish you the very best in life.
Now that you're on birthdays, the Director General of the Ghana Health Service, Dr. Patrick Kumabwaje, it's your birthday today. Hey, I remember your birthday last year, sir, and then this year. Happy birthday. Yeah, Dr. Patrick Kumabwaje. Yeah, It's your birthday. From all of us, we wish you a happy birthday. Let's check out myjoyonline.com before we unleash Muftal Nabila Abdullahi on you. We will stop escorting your cash if you don't acquire armored bullion vans. IGP warns banks. Well, Mr. IGP, match it. Like, do it so that it will push them to do the right thing, because you can't keep putting your men at risk like that. How easy is that? Like, they just shoot and they kill you. Okay, CCTV footage shows final moments of student journalist who was killed in a hotel. Hey, Radhi, what's happening?
That's Priscilla Chega's issue right there. That's the CCTV footage from the hotel.
Charlie, I can't continue.
It's sad, though. It's sad. The things, but me, Yabeka said, I promise so, like the things happening. It's just scary. It's just scary. It's really scary. Gives you the chills, huh?
Yeah. Listen, we have to take a breather. We will have a lot more conversations when we come back from sport. Before we link up to the graphic business breakfast meeting, is a graphic business Stanbic Bank breakfast meeting. They're talking digitalization today. But up next, we have Muftal Nabila Abdullahi. I know Kotoko fans will say, they won their game against Inter-Allies. And I say, and so what?
Please,
check out the table again.
Don't brothelize.
Just go back to the table. But yesterday I was so heartbroken. Like I was like, Charlie, you were just 2-3. Like I was like, how? Because
we went ahead.
I had reserved. Like I was going to, what I was going to post there, I had to reserve. Like I had decided the words and the picture and everything, and I couldn't post.
No, you just wanted to come and deal with me this morning, and unfortunately for you, it didn't happen. But we're going to sports. I couldn't help this. You remember just, is it last week? We had Mapito CBD with the Silver Star.
Yeah.
Silver Bird cinema bit. Well, there's some good news here. Hopefully when we come back, we'll hear about the cinemas getting the green light.
So this is what somebody said. Cinemas are going to be open on beaches where the place is absolutely airy. People can't go to the beaches. Something ain't right here. We've got sports.
This is a Ghana Premier League season that is probably going down to the wire because Kumasi Asante Kotoko have joined Hearts of Oak at the top of the table on equal points after beating Inter-Allies 3-2 at the Theatre of Dreams in Dewu. The Porcupines needed a header from Andrew Apao after being pegged back twice by the 11-1. And also in the UEFA Euro 2020 competition, Czech scored an incredible goal as Czech Republic defeated Scotland by 2-0. Also, we'll be talking about boxing, where former boxing president Samir Kaptan says that the sport is on a decline, claiming that trainers and boxers have become very indisciplined. I am Muftal Nabila Abdullahi, and this is AM Sports on the AM Show. Let's start with Ghana Premier League news because Kumasi Asante Kotoko sank Inter-Allies deeper in the relegation pit, beating them 3-2 on Monday. The Porcupines needed Andre Apao's second-half header to secure all points, having been pegged back twice after taking the lead.
Asante Kotoko finds Patrick Asma. Asma with a cross in, Adumaku's header, and Jemfi connects Kotoko up by 1-0. 26 minutes. This goal is well worked. Brilliant stuff from the Porcupine Warriors. And this man here is excited. At least he can put the troubles in Morocco behind him and celebrate Abalora. Good.
As always involved in the build-up. Asma with a into the box. All over the place, over far to the other side.
Nafiu Sulemana goes past Christopher Neti, sends a cross, and Alex Asso equalizes for Inter-Allies. Great work done by Nafiu Sulemana, and Allies are back in business.
The way he was going to, but Nafiu Sulemana here just kept past his man as if it's not there. Apple, but Razak Abalera is on the other side, hoping.
Neti finds Keyeke. Nafiu's careful about the way he's tackling Keyeke, but the cross comes in from Nete. Jemfi was at the far post. Ball was blocked by Abanga, sends a cross in, and Kotoko are back in the lead. Adumaku, this time the scorer and not the provider. Asante Kotoko are back in front. Inter-Allies
pointed, considered right from scoring, but great work by Keyeke using his body well. Nete's balls into the far post. Jemfi with the first attempt was blocked. That's well to keep it under his pole and put it across. Now, nowhere near crossing it.
Abanga's corner, Okpe's header, and that's the equalizer. Inter-Allies, the Okpe,
And Rashid will bow down and say, Allahu Akbar, we are back in business. All into the box to begin with is delightful, it's brilliant. But take a look at the leap. Nobody could compete with him. And Fabio Gama to deliver. Yes, he sends one in. Header goes in. Oh, Asante Kotoko are back in the lead. And I thought that they were dominating his Gama's ball into the box. It's another very good ball. Look at the jump, the leap, and the power in the header. Goalkeeper gets the hand to it. Not strong enough to tip it over. Oh, Apau, what a start and what a goal for him.
You will have to go back to 5 years ago in the Ghana Premier League when All Stars needed to win the Premier League on the last day of the competition. This season appears to be one. Let's talk about Mariano Barreto, who is the head coach of Kumasi Asante Kotoko. He applauded the character of his boys to have the temerity to still pull through despite being pegged back twice by the 11-1.
It was a very tough match. We knew the way of Inter is playing, using his tall players and putting long balls. Unfortunately, we don't have tall players like they have, but more or less, with more or less difficult, we solve the problems. We consider we make a goal, we play very well in the first half, we create some chance of goal, and when they make the goal, for us was a surprise. But we didn't give up, and this is a big difference between my team and other teams. We always fight, we always believe. Sometimes we get, and the most of the times we get it. And they get it, they make the second, they equalize in the hard moment, but we didn't give up, and we make the third goal.
Tonight, that big fixture of the last two countries to have won the World Cup, that is Germany and France, will be live on Joy Prime. Join us at 6 p.m. as we start our build-up to that heavy match on Joy Prime. Multimedia, as we say, is the home of bringing you some of the biggest matches in the Euros tournament. And tonight, we start with a game involving France and Germany. Our panelists, Larry Kingston and Stephen Appiah, will be in the studio to provide you insight as we build up to that game. Now, let's do some boxing now, where former president of the Ghana Boxing Authority, Samiri Captain, says that the sport is on a decline because there's indiscipline from the angle of boxers and trainers, saying that boxers are the people who control their managers.
It's the record that tells a story about a boxer. And this is what I'm happy you just mentioned. And we all Ghanaians, we want boxing in this country to be on the limelight before. Like DK Poison time, Ikoti time, Azuma time, you know. But with such things that is happening, you tell a boxer to fight somebody who's got good record, say, no, I won't fight him. I'm not afraid of him though, but I won't fight him. You know, and the managers too, the boxers control the managers. They are not disciplined. The boxers are not disciplined. The managers can't control the boxers because they think it's the boxers that make the managers. No. To become a manager, you have to discipline yourself and discipline your boxer. You control the boxer. You spend your resources. You also have a family, you know, to take care of. And you have taken care of somebody, child. And if the person is not listening to you, how can you get into the top? So I'm happy you mentioned this, and I'm happy Mr. Nikwe too is here, and he's hearing it. He also go against certain things, you know. And with the press, all of them too should help and raise the standard of boxing again in this country. Boxers don't want to train. The trainers don't train them well. And most of the trainers too don't know how to train. I'm saying it bluntly. If they like, they should challenge me. They don't know how to train. So it's the duty of the GBA to be strict with the trainers, to be strict with the boxers. The promoters are doing their best. Some of the managers are doing well, their best. And they don't get their money back. They fall on the wayside. So it's always good for you boxers, managers, trainers especially, to be strict on your boxers. Please don't come with any records, 20 wins, 2 losses, and blah, blah, blah. It's not good for your boxer. It won't get him there. True. It will never get him there. So I beg you.
Samiri captain there, being very blunt on the spot, calling on everyone to be disciplined, saying that you will never get to the point you want to get to if you're not disciplined, because boxing is a disciplined sport. On this note, we say thanks very much for joining us for AM Sports on the AM Show. I am Muftau Nabila Abla. Head on to myjoyonline.com and read some more sports story. There's a preview of the fixture involving Germany and France, which kicks off at 7 p.m. But we start our pre-match discussions at 6 p.m. Laia Kingston and Stephen Appiah will join Nathaniel Atto as Joy Plan brings you Euros 2020.
Well, welcome back. And as promised, we're digging into some of those very pertinent matters we've been looking at, but also look forward to the graphic Stanbic business event that is coming your way this morning. That is still very much on course, so look forward to that. But Mama V, so many things we had wanted to highlight. Thankfully, we have a second bite.
Yes, we do. We wanted to heavily talk about the incident that happened yesterday in Jamestown, the killing of the policeman and the woman, the armed robbery situation. But we also wanted to go back to something that the police, the IGP, had agreed with stakeholders on in terms of how monies should be carried. What specific vehicle that the banks were expected to use. Apparently, there was an agreement back in 2020. If you go to myjoyonline.com, you find what we're about to share with you. At the time, Mr. Al-Hassan and Danny was the executive secretary at the Ghana Association of Bankers. So on behalf of all stakeholders, this was what had been agreed, that following the Bank of Ghana's meeting with cash operations managers of banks held on Thursday, 15th October 2020, Bank of Ghana directs all deposit money banks and specialized deposit-taking institutions to acquire armored-plated bullion vans for its cash operations. The above directive is as a result of the spate of armed attacks during cash-in-transit activities leading to loss of lives, currency, and destruction of sophisticated equipment, which has become a national security concern. Accordingly, the agencies are required to comply with the following. 1, phase out and replace all soft-skin cash-in-transit vehicles presently in use with fit-for-purpose armored-plated vehicles with European standard B6 ballistic protection for passenger compartment and European standard B4 for cargo compartment. And the second, involve Bank of Ghana in the procurement of the armored vehicles to ensure compliance with the requisite specifications. Bank of Ghana further directs all should comply with the above directive by 1st July 2023. So there's a time frame set for the banks to ensure that they convey vehicles, transport them in the correct vehicle. The deadline is 1st July 2023, after which Bank of Ghana will not admit any soft skin CIT vehicle into its premises nationwide. And so this is the last agreed communication on this matter, and this was signed by Alitha Godswin Amamu, Mrs. for Secretary. It's a Bank of Ghana communication to all stakeholders, i.e. banks and those who help them carry their monies around. This is coming because of the warning by the IGP that they would stop escorting cash if they don't acquire armored bullion vans. But there had already been an agreement and a set time, 2023, except that, Ben, I'm thinking that 2023 is when, like 2 years, we've got 2 more years. So in the meantime, would we continue seeing these vehicles?
We have some 2 years and 6 months plus.
Yeah. So we give the armed robbers the leeway to operate another 2 years and then we get the correct vehicles, or what?
So I took a look at that statement and the measures in place in the next few weeks and, moving forward. And I think, well, for the banks as well, because these are not vehicles that will not come at great cost. They will come at great cost. My only problem, or one of my problems, is that we've waited this long to do this, because in other parts of the world, like I keep mentioning, they have structures in place and they've been doing this. In fact, if you don't have such vehicles, you don't qualify for certain services. But I guess it had to get to this breaking point where we keep losing more and more police officers for us to come to this stark realization. We've started on this front, but I agree, the timelines are a bit, I don't know. I mean, give them ESI. If they're going to contract them, especially in times of COVID, bring them into the country and all of that, or even, I don't know. But because we don't have the dynamics in this country, likely they're going to import these vehicles and all of that. But 2.5 years, I don't know whether that would. So what happens in the interim? So when it comes to the safety, not just of the police officials that they are targeting, but the drivers, the other occupants of these vehicles, what happens to them? It means the criminals should go on?
There's been suggestions that, the Bank of Ghana itself has the correct transport system. So the suggestion is, can we get the Bank of Ghana to transport the monies around? I don't know how many they have, and if they can do this daily
that's the exact question
routine work that's...
Look at the number of banks.
Yeah, we've got
and other financial institutions that might want to do this day in, day out, not even week in, week out, day in, day out. Will the Bank of Ghana have sufficient, logistics to take care of all of that? I doubt it.
Yeah. I wonder if this would come up in today's breakfast meeting, though, because it ties to the whole conversation of digitalization. We've moved on, and we can't be using these old system of transporting cash or going around to collect cash, because the weaknesses are there. Some say these are normal pickups, and they bring it down and then they try to get people to
at the rear,
just cover it.
And
there's no
we
protection.
Call it a bullion vehicle.
There's no protection.
It's not a bullion vehicle.
It's a normal vehicle that they've just made a few changes, covered it up, and then it's carrying good amount of cash. All the robbers have to do is to just monitor the movements. I mean, they know, they live in the communities. And again, you were talking about this particular area and how the place is heavily populated anyway, so you can't even speed and they can just do their thing. This has happened many times in the Ashanti region, for instance, and it's, for how long can we contain this? We've just read to you a directive which was issued by the Bank of Ghana, which given all banks a certain time frame within which they have to change the vehicles that they use. They have to get the correct vehicles. But the IGP can't wait, can he? Because his men are being gunned down every now and then. So the police service has cautioned banks across the country as far as the transportation of cash is concerned. A statement issued by its public affairs directorate, the Inspector General of Police on Monday directed banks to ensure that they procure fortified armored vehicles to cut cash within the country. Question we're asking, what difference would this make, seeing that there's already a directive by the Bank of Ghana, which is the regulator in this case? What would be the compromise? What can they agree to do in the meantime in terms of transporting cash and avoiding what we witnessed yesterday by way of the gunning down of a policeman and a woman as well? In the meantime, police is asking, if you saw something in your neighborhood, maybe it wasn't in Jamestown, you probably saw something later on, they are asking that you come forward with information. They only can work with information.
They only can, and this is where I totally agree. It is also important that we, the ordinary citizens, play our role in terms of giving that relevant information, keeping our eyes peeled for any activity that is suspicious, and ensuring that we can aid, rid our streets, our communities of these nefarious elements who could turn on any one of us, the next day. So we're just praying that they get apprehended, because these elements still being out there, no one is safe. And if they have this kind of ammunition and they've even taken the policeman's, firearm, we are not safe
Absolutely.
at all.
Absolutely.
We are not.
We're also asking that, you know, as citizens, we need to begin to change some of the things that we do. So instead of filming, it's good that you film, because sometimes that's all the record that we will have. But also do well to get in touch with security agencies, because as we witnessed with the video that came out later on, the incident that happened on the Ringway, close to the fire service, opposite the fire service, really, the National Fire Service office, and just next to the police headquarters. We're asking, did anybody run to them to inform them of what was happening? Can we, instead of chatting and screaming and making conversations, can we also alert security agencies when emergencies occur and we are witnesses of it? How many of us? And we're all guilty. I mean, I asked myself this yesterday because I was trying to imagine if anything happened to me, or if I witnessed anything. The thing is witness. If I witness anything, would I pick up my phone and call, or I'll pick up my phone and start filming?
Right.
You know?
I mean, if you were in close proximity, you would probably want to look out for your safety first, find out where you can be, and maybe still catch snippets of what is happening before it might. I mean, it's quite a process when you're stuck in that cycle of witnessing something like this. And sometimes it is real that the last thing that comes to your mind is to actually reach out and call the police. But it's also the most important thing to do.
Absolutely.
In a period like that.
Absolutely. Recapping, this is Mapito Sibidi's voice. Okay, not her voice, but this is her speaking. So we've heard from the cinema operators. We've heard from the film producers. We wait to hear from you, Mr. President. Mr. President, yes, go ahead.
This is not a state of the industry address. But the cinemas are getting the green lights. The Ghana Tourism Authority has given the green light for cinemas and theatres nationwide to resume operations after 15 months of closure of their facilities. More than a year and 3 months. And as has been noted, the industry together, the cinematic industry, has lost $5 million. And of that, Silverbird Accra alone has lost $2 million. So I'm just contemplating what the Wager One has lost. That feeds into this entire bit. So the bits of interest, the Ghana Tourism Authority has noted that cinemas and theatres would be given the license to fully open after an application is made with an inspection and approval given. So application, inspection, and then the PR manager of the GTA, Jones Nelson, also mentions that owners of cinemas and theatres are, however, required to apply for operational permits with the GTA before they can open their premises. And it also says the authority, in collaboration with the Ghana Health Service and the Presidential Task Force on COVID-19, is working on similar protocols for casinos. Once it's ready, it will be announced. So casinos across the nation, one comes to mind immediately, but I'm not going to mention them, in one hotel around 37. But it means all of those are also, from the spillover from this is going to be that they are also going to be able to open, operate, but I guess they will also have to comply with these. They would have to apply and then comply with the regulations the GTA is mentioning. It will have to be in line with COVID-19 protocols. But the GTA also mentions that upon issuance of the permits, the non-compliance to the approved guidelines would lead to a withdrawal of the license and further sanctions, including permanent closure. So that's something that anyone listening who is excited should take stock of. If you apply, they grant it to you, and you flout the regulations, you're going to be shut down permanently.
Beach lovers are also waiting for the directive on beaches because that place is already a very airy zone, so you would probably not need very tight, just reduce numbers and you're good to go. We're waiting to hear what they have to say on the beaches, but certainly good news for the cinemas. I mean, we're doing everything. We're doing the funerals, we're doing the weddings, we're doing everything. And these places actually can be safer because, you know, they would insist that you wear your mask, they would insist that you distance, they would insist that you wash your hands, you know, because the business is at stake. So you can be sure that you are safer in those environments than the other places where it's free for all. So yeah, we were just talking about the number of people. We had the the person who runs the place.
Yeah.
But the people who would usually issue the ticket to you, have you thought about what they're doing right now?
Yeah.
The person who will serve you the soda, the popcorn, the security people who'd be at the gate, like those who will clean up the facility after you are done watching a particular movie. Have you thought of what they're all doing right now? Are they just home? Are they jobless? How are they, managing, really? So yeah, we need the cinemas back, and it's certainly good news.
And it's been about a year long, because at the official launch of the presidential film pitch in April 2020, Mr. President said the doors to theaters would be open, but it's taken just about a year. So we wait to see how quickly the cinemas will get on board. I'm sure when they roll out again, it's not going to be like it was then. We just go check quickly, what are they showing today? What's the latest movie? But I'm sure with time, it'll pick up.
Yeah.
Once they comply, things will get better.
All right. Okay, so this is where we will have to take you over to the Labadi Beach Hotel for the Graphic Business Stanbic Bank breakfast meeting today. The Minister of Communications and Digitalization, Mrs. Esla Owusu-Ekufo, will join 3 other experts in the technology space and other participants to discuss how the digitalization process being championed by government can be fully leveraged to achieve the dream of the average Ghanaian. And the theme today is digitization, the key to unlocking the Ghanaian dream. And the event is dubbed Graphic Business Stanbic Bank Breakfast Meeting. It would explore ways by which digitalization can be used to reduce the cost of doing business in the country. So these are the persons speaking at the event today. We have the Director General of the National Information Technology Agency, Richard Otrefosu, the Chief Executive Officer of HAPTEL, Alex Bram, and the Professor of Finance at the University of Ghana, Legon, Professor Godfred Bokbing, and of course, the Minister of Communications, Esla Owusu-Ekufo. This is the second this year, this thought leadership initiative that will be happening at the Labadi Beach Hotel. Ben?
Well, right before we get to that, something that nearly skipped my mind, a wonderful person, Natalie Amadahe of GBC. Natalie, today is your birthday. Natalie Amadahe. Happy birthday to you, and God richly, richly bless you. Also, from that wish also from Shika and Kelly Nutako. Natalie, happy birthday to you. So right now we cross over. We'll be bringing you the latest right after this break.